If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. The Cleveland Browns quarterback situation has been one of the most puzzling storylines of the NFL offseason, and despite seemingly moving on from high-profile veteran options, one name just refuses to go away. Kirk Cousins. Ever since Cousins was benched in Atlanta in favor of rookie Michael Penix Jr., a decision that stunned many given Cousins' massive $180 million contract, the rumor mill hasn't stopped spinning, even though the Falcons appear content with eating a large portion of that contract and keeping Cousins as a backup. Some analysts believe the door to a trade isn't fully closed. The Browns, meanwhile, have shown no interest in taking on another injured quarterback with a hefty price tag, especially after already dealing with massive uncertainty under center. And yet Bleacher Report's Brent Sobleski has reignited the discussion, naming Cleveland a potential landing spot for Cousins, citing a lack of long-term clarity at quarterback and Cousins' prior success under Kevin Stefanski. When the Browns signed Joe Flacco and then followed that up by drafting 2 quarterbacks, it was widely assumed the Cousins to Cleveland talk would finally be buried for good. After all, adding another name to an already crowded quarterback room featuring Flacco, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and 2 rookies seems both unnecessary and counterproductive. Yet the rumors persist, and Sobleski's mention of the Browns as a potential Cousins destination is more than just speculative. His analysis touches on a painful truth for Cleveland fans. The organization still lacks a definitive answer at quarterback, both for 2025 and beyond. Cousins, with his experience and past connection to Stefanski, represents stability in a sea of question marks. Despite his age and injury concerns, he could theoretically walk into Cleveland tomorrow and understand the offense better than any other option currently on the roster, which is perhaps the driving force behind the persistent chatter. It's worth noting that Sobleski isn't just tossing Cousins' name into the mix for clicks. He genuinely believes Cousins offers the Browns their best shot at success this season. The argument is simple. Even an 85% version of Kirk Cousins is likely more polished and productive than what Cleveland currently has. While Flacco led the Browns into the playoffs last year and showed remarkable poise, he's 39 and was already retired before Cleveland gave him a call. The rookies, though promising, are unproven, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson is still very much a developmental project. The Browns roster is built to win now, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. With stars like Myles Garrett and a legitimate chance to make noise in the AFC, the idea of relying on an aging Flacco or a rookie in a tight playoff race may be enough to push decision makers into considering a more secure, familiar option, even if it comes with baggage. And let's not overlook the Stefanski connection. Back in Minnesota, Cousins and Stefanski developed a strong working relationship that produced solid offensive results. In fact, that familiarity could make an in-season transition smoother than normal, especially in a system that has already been tailored in part to Cousins' strengths. In theory, he could come in mid-season, step into a similar playbook, and get up to speed much faster than an outsider would. That's not something every veteran quarterback can claim. Given the win-now makeup of this Browns roster and the fact that they haven't solidified their quarterback plans for 2025, the idea of taking a swing on Cousins begins to make a little more sense, especially if Atlanta is willing to absorb most of the financial burden in a trade. Still, the concerns surrounding Cousins are impossible to ignore. He's coming off a season riddled with injuries, including a torn Achilles, and there's no guarantee that he returns to pre-injury form. At 36, with a body that's taken his fair share of hits, he represents a risk that could just as easily backfire as it could pay off. And while he may offer more consistency than Flacco, it's unclear whether that marginal upgrade is enough to shift the Browns' fortunes in a hyper-competitive AFC. In a best-case scenario, Cousins could come in, stabilize the offense, and guide them to the playoffs. In a worst case, he gets hurt again or struggles with timing and chemistry, and the team wastes valuable development time that could have been given to younger players like Thompson-Robinson or their newly drafted passers. Realistically, the Browns 2025 season is shaping up to be a transitional year. With no clear long-term quarterback under contract, the most logical path forward would be to use this season to evaluate what they have in the rookies while leaning on Flacco to start the year and keep the team competitive. Rushing into a trade for Cousins could throw that plan into disarray and potentially delay the team's progress toward finding a permanent solution under center. The only scenario where such a move makes any sense is if the Browns start their year season hot, say 5-2 or better, but are clearly being held back by mediocre quarterback play. In that case, bringing in a veteran like Cousins could be viewed as an attempt to capitalize on a unique window of opportunity. But that's a load of ifs. What if the rookies look promising? What if Flacco defies expectations again? What if Cousins isn't healthy enough to contribute in the way people hope? The risks of bringing him in may outweigh the potential rewards, particularly for a team that has struggled for years to find any sort of consistency at the quarterback position. The Browns are not the kind of team that can afford another misstep. At quarterback, especially one that comes with a high price tag and minimal guarantee of success. In this context, sticking with what they have and building toward a clearer future might be the most prudent course, even if it means short-term growing pains. The notion that Kirk Cousins is the missing piece for the Browns in 2024 is compelling, but perhaps a bit naive. The league is full of talented teams, and the margin between contenders and pretenders is razor thin. If Cousins was truly the difference between Cleveland winning a Super Bowl or not, Atlanta wouldn't be holding on to him without blinking. The fact that he remains a backup behind a rookie who's never thrown an NFL pass suggests that teams, including the Falcons, aren't convinced he's still that guy. And while the Browns situation is far from ideal, injecting another aging, banged-up veteran into the mix doesn't exactly scream progress. There's a reason teams value youth, health, and upside. 3 things Cousins no longer has in abundance. That said, fans shouldn't be shocked if this rumor refuses to die. Cousins has name recognition, past success, and a built-in storyline. With Stefanski, it's low-hanging fruit for analysts and a tantalizing hypothetical for fans desperate to see the Browns finally solve their quarterback riddle. But right now it feels more like smoke than fire. The Browns have made their bed with Flacco, the rookies, and whatever developmental growth they can squeeze from this roster, unless disaster strikes or the team stumbles into a legitimate playoff. Push with shaky quarterback play, it's hard to envision Cleveland giving up assets or cap flexibility for a question mark like Cousins. He may be a name worth monitoring, but not one worth betting the season on. In conclusion, the Kirk Cousins to Cleveland conversation remains a curious blend of logic and fantasy. There's just enough connective tissue between the quarterback, the coach, and the roster to keep the idea alive, even when common sense suggests otherwise. Unless Cousins forces his way out of Atlanta or the Browns quarterback situation implodes spectacularly, this is likely to remain a what-if scenario rather than a breaking news headline. For now, Cleveland must continue navigating their uncertain quarterback path with the tools they've already chosen. It might not be flashy or headline-grabbing, but sometimes stability and patience pay off more than one more desperate swing at a fading star. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. It started as just a whisper among insiders, a passing comment from a source close to the league, but it's quickly picking up steam across NFL circles. Joe Burrow, the face of the Cincinnati Bengals franchise, might be heading to the Cleveland Browns in what is shaping up to be one of the most shocking and unprecedented trades in recent history. We're talking about a potential 5-player blockbuster that could shift the entire balance of power in the AFC North. Imagine Burrow swapping stripes for brown and orange, 2 division rivals striking a deal this bold. It's not just a fantasy scenario from a Madden simulation. Multiple sources are hinting that front offices have quietly been working behind the scenes for weeks. While no names have been officially confirmed from the Browns side, reports suggest at least 2 defensive starters and a top offensive weapon could be involved. The ripple effects would be enormous. Let's be honest, Joe Burrow leaving Cincinnati seemed unthinkable even a month ago. He's not just a quarterback. He's the guy who brought swagger back to the Bengals. He's the reason they became perennial playoff contenders. The cool-headed leader with that LSU grit who made people believe in Cincinnati again. So why now? Some speculate it's the lingering concern over his long-term health. Others whisper about quiet tension between Burrow's camp and management regarding contract structure, offensive line protection, and lack of playoff progress. With Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson all elevating their teams to new heights, Burrow's timeline to win is narrowing. The Bengals' window might not be as wide as people think. If a team like the Browns comes knocking with a king's ransom of players, future picks, and cap relief, maybe, just maybe, the Bengals front office listens. After all, in the NFL, emotion rarely trumps business. Now let's talk about Cleveland. This team is no longer the joke of the league. With a stacked defense, a solid run game, and a hungry fan base, the Browns have been one elite quarterback away from real contention. They've tried to draft free agency and big-name trades before, but landing Joe Burrow? That would be a seismic move. Think about it. Pairing Burrow with Nick Chubb, if he stays, Amari Cooper, and David Njoku. That's a serious offensive core. And with Myles Garrett anchoring the defense, Cleveland would instantly jump into the Super Bowl conversation. But here's the twist. In order to land Burrow, they'd reportedly need to give up 5 key pieces. Word is, this includes some cornerstone players, names that fans in Cleveland would hate to lose, but that's the price you pay when you're going after a top 3 quarterback in the league. This isn't a small swing. This is a franchise-altering haymaker. One of the most intriguing pieces of this developing saga is how quiet both teams have been. No denials, no press conferences, nowhere committed to our guys' speeches. That silence, it's deafening. In today's media landscape, teams usually shoot down rumors quickly if there's no truth to them. The fact that neither Cincinnati nor Cleveland has come forward to squash this story only adds fuel to the fire. Some believe that means the two front offices are deep in negotiations, trying to finalize terms without attracting too much media pressure. Others think it's all a smokescreen to distract from other off-season moves. But when multiple league insiders start dropping hints and confirming details, it becomes harder to ignore. This isn't just your average rumor. This feels like something that's gaining momentum. And in a league where timing and perception matter, the longer this goes unaddressed, the more real it starts to feel. The fan reaction has been explosive on both sides. Bengals fans are in disbelief. Social media is flooded with anger, confusion, and denial. Why would we trade a franchise quarterback? Who replaces Burrow? This better not be true, or just some of the milder comments. On the flip side, Browns fans are cautiously optimistic. There's excitement, yes, but also a heavy dose of skepticism. What's the catch? They ask. Are we giving up too much? It's the classic emotional tug of war that only a trade of this magnitude can cause. Even former players are chiming in, with ex-Browns and Bengals stars posting cryptic emojis or subtle nods to the rumor. The NFL media world is on fire with speculation, mock trade proposals, and possible lineup shifts. This isn't just a player movement, it's a cultural moment in the AFC North. If it happens, it changes everything. If it doesn't, it still leaves a scar. Let's dive deeper into the potential trade package. While no names have been officially leaked, NFL insiders suggest a possible deal could include Browns defensive studs like Jeremiah Osu-Koromoa and Denzel Ward, along with an offensive talent, possibly Elijah Moore or even David Njoku. And toss in 2 depth players and maybe a first-round pick, and you've got a deal that might actually tempt Cincinnati. For the Bengals, it's about long-term security, cap flexibility, and a chance to rebuild around a younger core. Could they draft a new quarterback? Maybe target someone in free agency? That's the risky part. Burrow is a known quantity, the proven playoff warrior. Replacing that isn't easy, but 5 high-quality assets might soften the blow. And let's not forget, Burrow's contract is massive. Offloading that money could unlock options across the board. From the Browns side, it's all about going all in. You don't make this move unless you believe you're one piece away from a championship. There's also a quiet subplot developing around Burrow's inner circle. Some sources claim that his agent has been exploring creative scenarios to help Joe land in a more championship-ready situation. That doesn't mean Burrow is unhappy in Cincinnati, but it does suggest a heightened urgency. The AFC is stacked. Mahomes isn't going anywhere. Neither is Allen. Justin Herbert and Trevor Lawrence are on the rise. If Burrow wants to win multiple rings, he might need to join a team that's already built to go deep. The Browns, ironically, could be that team. They have the defense, the line, and the weapons. What they've lacked is consistency at quarterback. Imagine Burrow taking the field in a Cleveland jersey, ready to prove the doubters wrong, ready to make the leap. It's the kind of narrative that could define a career and completely flip the power structure of the AFC. From a league-wide perspective, this move would send shockwaves across all 32 teams. Imagine the headlines. Burrow bolts for Cleveland. Sponsors would flock. Primetime games would be reshuffled. Merchandise sales would explode. The Browns would go from underdogs to media darlings overnight. And the Bengals, they'd be forced to redefine their identity. No more Burrow era. Instead, they'd enter a transitional phase with a war chest of players and picks. Some analysts argue that this could be a rare win-win if handled correctly. The Browns get their superstar, the Bengals get flexibility, but others see danger. What if Burrow doesn't mesh with Cleveland's system? What if the Bengals never find a true replacement? High risk, high reward. It's the ultimate NFL gamble. But one thing's for sure, if this deal goes down, it'll be remembered for decades. And everyone involved will either be hailed as geniuses or roasted as fools. No middle ground. What's next? That's the question haunting everyone. Sources say talks are at a critical stage. Whatever that means, the term could imply that both sides are hammering out final details, or that the whole thing is on the verge of collapse. Either way, the next 48 to 72 hours could be decisive. If nothing happens soon, it's possible the window closes and both teams return to business as usual. But if even a portion of these rumors are true, we're looking at a potential shift unlike anything we've seen since the Herschel Walker trade or Brett Favre's shocking moves. Every GM, coach, and player in the AFC will be watching. Every media outlet is refreshing their inboxes. This isn't just a story, it's the story. And until someone comes out and officially ends the speculation, the buzz will only grow louder. We're on the edge of our seats waiting for a tweet, a leak, or maybe just a nod from a trusted insider. In the end, whether Joe Burrow suits up for the Browns or not, the fact that this rumor even exists is a testament to how wild and unpredictable the NFL has become. No player, no matter how beloved or established, is truly untouchable anymore. The right offer, the right timing, the right desperation, it all adds up. Maybe this is just smoke and nothing materializes. Maybe it's all been overblown by fans and insiders hungry for clicks. But maybe, just maybe, there's fire behind all this smoke. Joe Burrow in a Browns uniform leading the Dawg Pound into battle every Sunday. It's the kind of football dream that feels too wild to be true. But in today's league, the line between fiction and reality is razor thin. If it happens, history will be made. And if it doesn't, it still proves one thing. In the NFL, everything is on the table. Stay tuned. This story is far from over. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan. Hit subscribe and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!